What's up guys, Derrick here from DaseDesigns.com, back with another YouTube video. Today's video I'm going to be continuing our part 2 for our how to draw series and going over the basics of sketching, more specifically the basics of shading and how you guys can start adding some real value to your drawings, your illustrations, designs, all this kind of stuff. So as you guys can see right now, I'm currently using Sketchbook Pro. And in our previous video, I was working with pencil and paper. So it's going to be the same. All the principles are the same, but this is just currently what I'm using. I was using pencil and paper forever, and then I decided to switch it up to this right now, just because I work more digitally more so. So anyways, whenever you're starting off, one of the most important things to focus on and to figure out is your light source and where that's going to be, and also your object. So we have a simple circle right here, and then we have our light source right here. So as you guys can see, our light source is really going to give us a reason why certain areas are shaded and certain areas are lit. So when you break it down, our object is going to be broken into two different areas, our lit area and then our shadow area. So if I was to just quickly break this thing down, it would be like this. This would be our light area right here, and then our shadow would be on the opposite side. So whenever you're starting out to add a value, it really has to do with your hands and then how you hold your pencil and how much pressure you're using. So you really start off pushing hard, and then as you get closer to the light source, you would start pushing less pressure and less pressure, and it will get lighter. I'm using the wrong thing right now. No wonder it was so dark. All right, so if I was to put up a pencil, again, start off dark, and then as you get closer to your light source, you begin to use less and less pressure. Hopefully it'll get lighter. This thing doesn't have the sensitivity of the actual pencil that I use, so hopefully you guys can get a better understanding, get a great understanding for how it would work out. So anyways, so yeah, we would start off with I would usually start off with the darkest area, which is our shadow area, and then for the extreme basics, it just starts off with starting off extremely dark, or however dark you want to do it, and then getting lighter the closer you get to the lit area, the light area. So just pressing lighter with your pencil and your hand, the closer you get to the light. So at this point, it will begin to get lighter and lighter. And if areas need to be darkened up, be sure to add more value into that area. And then the closer it gets to the light, the less pressure we would be using with our pencil, or the less lines there would be. So as you can see, it's really dirty, and there's a lot of lines. But if you were to begin to blend, like in person, when you're using a pencil and paper, you can use your finger like I used to do, get down and dirty with my fingers, or you can use a napkin, paper towel, anything like that. And they also have blending tools as well. I can't remember the name of it, but it looks kind of like a pencil made out of toilet paper, if I was to say anything. So that's kind of what those look like. But anyways, you can use that to begin to blend, and that really helps, as you can see, smooth out the line and smooth out the shading and the value that you've given to your object. So that's kind of like an extreme basic level of shading on your object. And after that, we have our shadow. We have our cast shadow, aside from the shadow that is on our object, which is our form shadow, which is pretty much, obviously, as you can say, as I said, this area beyond this point right here. One thing you can do is actually, if you focus on, again, your light source, which is really important, you can try to imagine and draw and sketch those in where your light rays would be. If you were to look at a spotlight in a pitch black room, in a sense, be able to see the light as it expands out into the air. So if we were to do that right here, and we connected that to our object, this acts as a great base to continue to plan out and imagine where our shadow would be. So if our surface was over here, this was our surface, and then here's our shadow, or here's our light source and the light rays, you can imagine if you were to use those lines that we just created, we could create our shadow, our casting shadow, on the ground using those rays, and that would give you a decent idea of where it would be. And then for the most part, considering this is a sphere, this would kind of be our darkest area, again, on the extreme basics, and then it would begin to get a little bit lighter, the shade that's in this area right here, throughout the rest of the shadow, and then it would get even lighter and lighter as we got closer to this ending point. So if we put this as dark as we can get it, again, applying the most amount of pressure we can, and then after we get beyond that point, here's where we start to use less pressure and let it get brighter and brighter and brighter. And again, this takes practice, so that's really all it's about. So if it doesn't look this good, or even if it does look better, it's all about the amount of practice and time and effort you put into it. I'm not putting a lot of time or effort into it, but I do have a decent amount of experience. So yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. You know, practicing is extremely important. And yeah, so another thing is, as you can see right now, I'm not sketching, or I'm not drawing like this. I'm not drawing straight lines. I'm drawing rounded lines. And this is really to give the viewer, you guys, an idea that it's round and it's not just flat. Obviously on the ground, I guess I could have did that right here, but on the object, when I started off around here, I was shading like this in comparison to just flat like over here. And that's, again, just to give you guys an idea that it's a sphere and not like a plate or something like that, or a piece of paper that was cut into a circle. So you can also implement that into other objects, whether you're drawing a human face. Having your lines and your shading, well, if you're doing lines kind of as really rough, you know, just following along with the shape of the object. So again, the closer or the farther away you get from the object, the lighter and lighter that cast shadow gets. It's a lot similar for a square, rectangular, prism, whatever you guys want to call it. So I'll do a quick one right here. So I'm drawing in like a quick perspective right here. More on that in the next video. Again, this can really help for design or anything like that. So I'm going to put my light over here. So really, again, considering the area that's closest to the light is going to be the most lit. So if you want to go where it's lit, get close to the light, right? So anyways, the area that's on the opposite side of that is going to be the darkest area, just like on this right here with our sphere. So this would be our dark area, or our area, you know, extremely close to being black, or just being black in general. And then this would be a lighter area, considering our light is over here and it's more so above. It's, you know, the top of the object sees the most amount of light, therefore it would be the lightest and the most lit. And then this side, the back side, sees the least amount of light, so it's the darkest. And then the top part is seeing more light, then this side would be in between. So this shading, this right here is a great way to break down shading in general. Like if you need to simplify it for a logo design or just design in general, you know, you really want to make sure that it's simplified. So this is a great way to simplify it into 3 different ways. You know, you have your brightest, which sees the most light. So I guess for this one, it'd probably be more so up here, our light source. But anyways, and then this would be the brightest part. And I'm just adding some shading just to separate it from the background. This would be our second darkest part. And then this would be our darkest. And if I'm not mistaken, our light source would probably be right around here, or more so kind of like this. It could be like out to here in our lines, and then this would be the darkest part, and then it would just, again, get darker, or sorry, it would get brighter and brighter the closer or the farther away you got from the object. It would just get brighter and brighter. That's just something to keep in mind as well. So yeah, that's kind of like the basic understanding of just like shading in general. Another thing you can keep in mind is that if you want to get a little bit more into depth and more detail, there's other things to take into consideration when you're drawing and shading. So if I was to pretty much draw our scene that we just created, you know, we still break it down into 2 separate areas, but this line that we originally started off with will become our terminator line. And that is the line between our light, our lit area, and then our shadow and shaded area. So this would be our darkest area right here, which is a basic area of where our terminator line is. And then we also have a different circle right here, which is called our half shadow. And then this would be the brightest area. So if I was to go back in, this would be darker right here. Just trying to quickly give you guys an example. And then this would be even darker right here, our terminator line. And then this would be the darkest on this side as well, but it would tend to get lighter as it gets closer to the edge. So it would look something like this. And the reason for this is because a lot of the times, depending on the surface that it's on, there's a reflecting light, and this also makes it easier to communicate with your viewer that it's a, you know, it's a 3D object rather than just a 2D object like a circle or a square. You know, we have a reflecting light, you know, so the light that's just coming from the lights overall are bouncing off our surface and then reflecting onto our object. So this area would be a bit brighter, not this bright obviously, but it would just be brighter than our terminator area, terminator line, and things like that. So that's just something you can keep in mind and something you can play with and have fun with if you'd like to. but you don't really have to, just in general, just to get a basic understanding. And again, it's kind of like the same thing for a shadow, for a cast shadow. You know, it would be dark, and then it would also get lighter in this area. So just because of our reflection of these from off our object and then onto the shadow, it'd be lighter in here. And then if I'm not mistaken, it would be darker around that. And then it would still get lighter on the outside. So this is kind of complicated. And if you don't want to use this part or, you know, even implement it, you don't really have to. But it can be helpful if you want to make things look a little bit more unique and stuff like that. All right, so now that we have that out of the way, we can get into simplifying shading. As I said before, I'll try to bring up an example right here. So as you guys can see, this is pretty much a mascot logo. It's a clown that I did yesterday on Halloween. So we have our outline right here, and this is what it looked like before I added shading. So I decided I wanted my light source. I decided I want my light source to be up here. So that means everything closest to that, everything on that side would be lit. It would be the lightest. And then everything on the opposite side would be in shadow. So I decided to use a gray. Again, just to simplify it, I decided to use the color gray. Oh yeah, keep it on light blue. And then I decided to add my shading. So as you guys can see, I wanted the top of the forehead and then above the eyebrow, that kind of meaty area where your eyebrow is, to stick out the most. That's why it is all white and it is also lit. And then everything beneath that, beneath the eyebrows, like where your eye socket is, that goes into your head. So there wouldn't be any light there. It would most likely be shaded. So that's why I added my shadows right here. And then as you can see on your cheekbones, that area sticks out, it protrudes out. That's why I have it going like this. So I decided to keep that area lit along with this nose, whatever that is called on a clown. Leave a comment below if you know what that's called. But I wanted these areas to be the lightest. So again, I kept them light. And then considering he's grinning so much, you can always see that line that comes from your nose to the edge of your mouth. And you can really just learn about this by just studying humans. Like, you know, take a selfie of yourself smiling as hard as you can and then just break down your face. That's an easy way to study like human face or something. You know, just take a quick selfie on your cell phone. So if I was to redo this, the shading beneath the nose would be right here, and then from the separation between the cheeks and where the mouths are and where that kind of indent and that crease is. And this is what that black outline is for and what I try to portray with that. So if I was to do this again, like our shadow would be right here where this light blue is, and then our light would be right here. I wanted the top part of the lip to be the darkest, so I decided to make it an outline or just make it black, similar to our eyebrows and just other areas in general. And then I wanted the bottom lip to stick out, so I kept that in light and then added a shadow beneath that, just to obviously add some contrast and a bit of difference so you guys could see, and the lip would stick out a bit more. And I did the same thing for the chin. In this area, I'm really just drawing over in light blue again. And I wanted the chin to be nice and long and to stick out and just to look weird, like he had just a huge chin. So, you know, that I wanted the chin to stick out farther than the bottom lip and just the lip in general. So I ended the shadow, you know, right beneath the lip and the outline for that. And then I left that area white and in light. So I kept it lit. And then everything on the side of that, considering our light is coming up like this, so all of this would be in shadow. So I added a shadow there. So again, using these lines like these two right here and then picking the light source is extremely helpful. And especially if you're referencing an actual face, it's extremely easy to piece it all together. And also I did the same thing for this, these like little ruffles right here on his outfit that I didn't add. But anyways, so hopefully that really helps give you guys perspective of how to break things down for design use and how to simplify it. And another great way to just simplify it in general would be I'll just try to break it down all over again really quickly. So generally for mascot designs and logo designs, if I'm creating them, again, you got to keep them nice and simple. So you take the basics of shading and then make it simple, because logos are supposed to be simple. So you just simplify everything I just did and you'll be able to create shading for that. So if I was to do that, I would, you know, pick like our main color. I'll just use black. And then, you know, here's our light source. So this area would be the most lit right here. So I'll just leave that white. And then I would pick another area below that to kind of give a half shadow, or just kind of like our base color right here for design. And then the area beyond that, on the opposite side of our most lit area, would be where our shadow is, and it would also be our darkest area. So, you know, I would most likely shade this in with black right here. Just imagine this is perfectly shaded in. Just ignore these scribbles. And then I would put the halftone area, the color of our actual object, or gray in this case. And then the other area that's the most lit, I would put that a brighter gray or a brighter color, or white if you want it to be white. Either is fine. It all depends on how bright the light is, how far it is away, and stuff like that. So this is kind of like a basic understanding of how to simplify it. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this part was really helpful for you guys as well, because this kind of gives like base understanding. I usually do like 3 different colors. So I have like a base color, so that would be like in the middle. Then I have a shaded area or shadow. Then I have our most lit area, which is the brightest area. And this areas that are the most lit are usually what you'll see on my designs, like a highlight, like a white highlight, or just like highlights in general. So again, like you could make this a white highlight if you wanted to add some more stuff in. You could even put like just a highlight in general, something like that. But it's really up to you guys. And if you're adding it into design and implementing it into your designs and stuff, make sure it's simplified. If it's more so created for a logo design and stuff like that. So my main tips will be to just practice. Again, like take a quick selfie of yourself and like reference your face and just try to sketch it. Like it doesn't have to look perfect. You can do this with like I said in the previous video, like a toilet or a laptop, a pair of glasses, your iPhone, your mom, your dad, anybody, your dog, it doesn't matter. Just really have fun. Just go out and draw some stuff. Try to implement some of the things we've gone over in this video and the previous video, and I'll have more to come for you guys in the next one. And lastly, guys, I wanted to give a huge shout out and thanks to all of you guys who have been supporting me, supporting the channel, and helping me reach 5,000 subscribers. It seems like not too long ago, I was at 0, and then 1,000, and now 5,000 on YouTube. So I truly appreciate all the support that you guys have helped me with and helped the channel with, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the content so far. So again, guys, it is Derrick from DaseDesigns.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.